But yeah, we're back, and of course, I'm back moaning, but this time it's about Roy Keane, because we are going to talk about his lazy takes on Trent Alexander-Arnold, and it is just showing him up as an awful pundit, quite frankly, and I don't take any pleasure in saying that. I'm Irish. I grew up watching Roy Keane, idolising him as a footballer, but his takes on Trent, his takes in general, I find are just lazy, particular with a very hateful stance towards Liverpool and any of our players. It's just ridiculous. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Ben said Roy Keane's comments. Yes, Roy Keane is once again being lazy. I don't understand why we'd pay any notice of Keane. I guess it's because he has a platform, mate. And that's the problem here. Roy Keane was a sensational footballer. As an Irishman, I grew up admiring Roy Keane for a lot of stuff. For some of his takes on the treatment of the Irish players and the lack of professionalism in the FAI at times, and I always admired Roy. But when he's gone into punditry, for me, at times he is just a mouth for hire and sensationalist to drive clicks and traffic. And a lot of what he says is absolute bullshit. Namely, about Trent Alexander-Arnold. So, Roy said that Trent can't defend. Well, Roy, Liverpool and Trent Alexander-Arnold have the best record defensively of any team in the Premier League so far this season. So that doesn't really tally with your nonsense of him looking like he can't defend. And he went very quickly from the conversation being about Trent scoring a free kick to then talking about Trent not being able to defend and going back to the Greece game. Now, I watched the Greece game, and yes, the defending from England at times was shambolic. But guess what, Roy? It was the whole back line and the midfield. Not Trent Alexander-Arnold. So why was he singled out? Well, I know why, and you know why, and that's because of Mr. Roy Keane's bullshit, inherent bias towards anything that is Liverpool. He just dislikes us. Doesn't call out some of the other nonsense defending. Doesn't call out the fact that the club that he played for with distinction is sitting in 14th place in the Premier League right now. Stop with the lazy takes, Roy. You might be able to go on the overlap and have other representatives there who won't challenge you for your bullshit. But I will, mate. And of course, I'll never get near the overlap because, hey, I actually have a backbone and I say things as they are. But that's okay. I'll continue to do what I do and continue to call out bullshit from the likes of Roy Keane, Gary Neville and other people who just can't hide their disdain for anything Liverpool. It's pathetic. The paying public and the ITV viewing public deserve better. And I don't know what it is exactly that Roy Keane brings to punditry. I'd love him to break down the intricacies of what it's like to play in midfield, what he would like to see done in this situation or in that situation. But he doesn't. He's just gobby. And all that he does is criticise, criticise and criticise. Without a solution, without any productivity, just with toxicity and bullshit. It is just that nonsense. And the viewing public deserve better from somebody who quite frankly knows better. But hey, is this what gets rewarded these days? Is this what the mainstream television companies have resorted to? Putting that lazy punditry on television because he's going to say some stuff that's going to drive traffic. Welcome to the modern world, my friends. Welcome to what ITV and other companies have become. Just lazy. Right, Tom, how are we? Said YouTube is a threat to the legacy media cartel. I agree. And I don't... Look, there are still journalists doing great work. Many of them out there doing great work. Simon Hughes, David Lynch, Paul Joyce, many journalists that I admire and taking it outside the Liverpool space. I'm really like Mark Ogden of ESPN. I think he's a great journalist. Miguel Delaney, great journalist. Melissa Reddy, great journalist. But Roy Keane and his lazy takes as a pundit are just that. They're just lazy. And I expected more. I expected more from him because he played the game so long that he knows what it's about. But I think he also knows how this game works. And that's all it is now. Everybody's trying to be a YouTuber. And that's what the influence that our industry is having now on mainstream television. That this is what they're having to resort to drive traffic and get views. And I think it's bullshit and it's lazy. Alex said Gary Neville as well is worse. Look, Gary Neville lost any level of respect. From me anyway. When he started again at the start of the season, predicting Liverpool to finish behind United, talking about Man United's midfield being better than Liverpool's midfield. By what metric? On what planet? Look, straight away back into a new season with a new manager. We didn't spend over 200 million in the market. We haven't spent over 600 million in the last 3 years. But hey, were already leaps and bounds ahead of United. But you'd never know that listening to Neville. And also, Neville predicted that the biggest impact player this season, I believe, if I'm right, it was him or Carragher, said it was going to be Dominic Solanke, and then he puts Dominic Solanke and Spurs to finish lower than they did last year. So he's going to be the biggest impact player, but he's somehow going to make them worse than they were last year. Make that make sense. That's the punditry. That's what we're getting. This is what these lads are paid millions of pounds for, to tell us stuff that is absolutely bullshit. Aaron said, to be honest, I like listening to Keane. That's probably because I don't take him seriously, though. It's lazy, though, Aaron. Not from you, bro, but from him. It doesn't take much to come on and just criticise a player. It's not. There's nothing to that. Any of us can go on there and say, he's crap, that's crap, they're all crap. But he doesn't add anything. I was listening to Ian Wright. Ian breaks down what's happening. Ian gives his viewpoint on how somebody can do something a little bit better. He adds to it. Ali McCoist, an incredible pundit and commentator who really does bring you into the game and makes you fall in love with it even more. That's what I expect from a pundit. But we don't get that with Mr. Keane, and I don't take any pleasure in saying that. I'm an Irishman. I grew up idolising Roy Keane. But as a pundit, I just find him lazy, and he takes cheap shots. And he should know better. Because he wouldn't have liked it the other way around. If it was him being criticised, he would have been the first one to come on and speak up for himself. So I'm going to do it for Trent. Because apparently, other representatives from Liverpool just are willing to sit back and look at this crap. I'm not. Mads Thorson said, every time Keane and Neville speak, you can just hear their salty voice between the United. They're so bad. Exactly. And look, we all expect a little bit of banter between Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher and the Liverpool United stuff. And to be fair, sometimes that is very entertaining. But sometimes you just wish there was some sanity to these conversations. Like, Trent has been part of a defence that has conceded the least amount of goals so far in the Premier League this season. That's not up for debate. That's a fact. And anybody who hasn't looked at Trent under Arna and seen an improvement in his defending, go and look at the game, for instance, that we played. Who did we play at the start of the Champions League campaign? We had a difficult game again. We were away from home, and Trent was up against some top quality players. I'm trying to think of who exactly this was. Bear with me. Who was the first game we played away from home? AC Milan, yes. Rafael Leao and Trent Alexander-Arnold absolutely had him in his pocket and didn't allow Rafael Leao to do anything. Away from home against one of the most exciting, charismatic, terrifying wingers in world football, and Trent did an easy job on him. It's just bullshit. If that doesn't show you Trent has improved, and look, I've criticised Trent before. I'm not going to sit here and say there haven't been times where I thought Trent wasn't pulling his weight, or wasn't working hard enough, or wasn't putting in the hard yards, or was maybe a little bit easy to get by. But if you can't acknowledge the improvements in Trent in those areas since then, I don't know what to say. It's just an agenda at that point.